Hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Investing and Trading Live. As always, I am your host, Josh Lilquist. We are on episode 1029. That is 1029, 1029. We're going to do a stock market recap on the day. We did a session this morning on a stock market update right around just after the open. So we're going to do a recap after we've seen a little bit of a slide with stocks here today. Lots and lots of red in the stock market. Matter of fact, every ETF, very interesting, every ETF that I look at, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, probably about 15 of them, are all in the red today. Very interesting. Normally you don't always see that. Sometimes oil or gold or silver is up when the stock market's down, just some weird things like that. So kind of weird that everything is in the red today. Volatility increased about 10%, which is big on the VIX. So that's what we're going to discuss here today is the increased volatility, opportunities with options moving forward. I'm going to look at an update on the currencies. We had a position that closed today, so we'll take a peek at that and just look at that. It was on a trailing stop and a couple other opportunities that are showing its face in the foreign exchange market. As we know, there is risk in trading and investing. You can and will lose money at one point in your life. This is strictly for entertainment purposes only, mainly mine, but hopefully you find it entertaining as well. Let's start with the S&P 500 ETF, which is the SPY, down 0.7% on the Z-Day, 0.7%, which was about $3.71. So what had happened was, we did a show this morning. It had gapped down. We've seen an increase after the gap, but we did see a slow sell-off towards the end of the day with the S&P 500 down 0.7%. Dow Jones Industrial Average down 1.03% on the day. This looks the same way as the other ones. We haven't looked at the NASDAQ yet, but the Dow and the S&P 500 were totally different. But the NASDAQ and the S&P did look very similar. And I want to say the Russell was just like the Dow. So the Dow ended up gapping lower and closing lower on the day as well, down 1.03%, which was about $4.02. The NASDAQ, QQQ, near all-time highs. We did see a gap down, but we did see the same thing, an increase in price right away out of the open, and then a sell-off towards the end of the day. So very similar to the S&Ps, 456.44. By the way, the Dow Jones 384.58 and the S&P 500 526.10. IWM was the biggest loser of the day, 1.48% to the downside. So that being said, as I mentioned, it looks just like the Dow Jones, gapped lower on the day and then closed lower as well. It did have a little bit of positive action at one point today, which looking at a price chart was right out of the gate. Yes, right out of the gate. Had a green candle there for a second, but it did end up lower on the day. 202.13 down $3.03, which was about 1.48%. Okay. All your other ETFs are all in the red. Let's just start with the biggest loser that I'm looking at, which would be XLI. XLI. XLI down 1.42%, was about $1.74, and big gap down and closing lower on the day. This one here, I'd say there's probably not a whole lot of opportunity. We're seeing actually, interesting pivot here with XLI. You got an area of demand that price came down to about April 19th. Now, it just pierced it, just touched it. We'll see what happens when we get down there. It might see another bounce on there. If we don't, I'm looking to see this probably go down to... I'd say down to we've got a ways down. It was so parabolic for a long time. This price was up over 30% at one point from October of 23, 31%. So that one here, pivotal point at $1.20. $120 per share on XLI. The other biggest loser, my mistake. XME was the biggest loser that I look at, 1.6%. That being said, let's go back to another one, XLB, which is your materials. I think we talked about that this morning as well. Same story, gaps lower and closes lower on the day. A few demand zones lower beneath there. I do like the one right around $85 per share, so down another 4%. I'd like to see the volatility on these pick up a little bit and be able to do some options on this. Sell some cash secured puts, collect some premium, but it's got to give some good volatility, good premium to be able to do that. USO is also down $1.40, about $1.09, which is about 1.4%. As we mentioned, we had a big gap up on Tuesday into Wednesday, and that was the high of the open was the high, and the low was the close. It basically went straight down on the day. Let me just see. The open was $77.66. The high was $77.67. So it went up 1 penny. The low was $76.56, and the close was $76.57. So the open and the close and the highs and lows were only a penny off. So not a very good day for oil after that increase in price, that big rise up. But I do like this moving forward, probably going back to the upside, unless we come down to kind of a sloppy demand zone at about $73 per share and then go up from there. But I just don't see that happening, in my opinion. All right, crude oil. The actual crude oil price is open, and it's at $79.30. So we're seeing an increase in price here at the beginning of the day for that particular market. Gold and silver. Gold is up now, but is at $2,339.55. Silver $32 per ounce as well. So I do like silver and gold. Bitcoin was down yesterday. The new trading day has started, and it's pretty much flat on that. All right, currencies. We did have a trade that closed out, the Aussie yen. We were long on that, and we had a trailing stop at that. Closed out around, 104.16-ish. But hey, we could probably get back into it back at 103.25 again. So we'll see what happens with the price action there as we continue that long bias with the Aussie yen. Also, a new opportunity has arisen in the New Zealand yen. Potential area at the 95.75 mark, looking to take that up to 97.50. So we'll see what happens as that uptrend also continues. So hopefully those trends continue. Otherwise, we do have another opportunity back at 93.25. That's your currency markets. Got a couple biases there, but nowhere near current price, so nothing really to talk about. As far as stocks, a lot of stocks in the red today. Target was actually on the upside. American Airlines, as we mentioned, they adjusted their, I forget what it was, earnings or cash or something, whatever it was down 14%. Let's see if that's in any demand zones. Well, we do have a pivot low at the $10.87 mark. Nothing real good on a. This might be an opportunity to check out and see if there's volatility there, because I do like a little 4-hour zone at the 11 to 10.90 area, which all the indications stating where it's been, where it could potentially go, are saying there might be some opportunity. Down 24% in the last month. So not looking, actually less than a month, a couple weeks. So might be an opportunity there as a potential buyer or some premium collecting. Ooh. I already have something marked out. And we are looking at, all right, we got to look at this tomorrow, see if there's any premium, any opportunities with volatility right around the $10 mark. I actually have a demand zone marked out from before an option I was looking at back in October. So we will take a peek at this mañana, and we got a nice area there. So that's going to be an opportunity if everything lines up, there'll be an opportunity to potentially sell some options, but it's got to show some volatility. Okay. They do have earnings again, July 18th. Interesting. Okay. AMC was down 8%. Whoop-de-doo. We're not going to talk about that much. And rounding out your stocks, Caesar's Palace down 3.3. Dick's Sporting Goods did close higher on the day. Had a great day, up 15%. Almost 16%, 15.9%. So this one's on a tear for quite some time. I bet Nike follows suit, since that one's been beaten down for a while. And Kohl's up 0.37%. So there, that rounds out your stock market update of the day. Crypto, we don't peek at crypto in a second. Currencies and the major ETFs that we look at every day and indexes. So that being said, we're going to do the main show tomorrow. We'll get some sessions there on that with my co-host Al. Now, we do appreciate the subscribers. Make sure to smash that subscribe and like button on the podcast, wherever you're listening to the podcast, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, or Spotify. We do appreciate that. It helps algorithms and continues our motivation to continue to give you updates on the markets each and every single day. As always, we are on session or episode 1029, and we are going to make this the global #1 financial podcast. So let's work towards that, and we appreciate all the help on that. As always, collect your profits when they're given to you. Protect your losses, keeping them small. Until next time, retire young, my friends.